Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling some source material that, frankly, takes a pretty uncomfortable position.
Hmm.
It argues, quite boldly, really, that maybe our money struggles aren't, all about the economy or the job market.
Right. It kind of puts it back on us.
Exactly, that maybe it's more about the choices we're making.
Yeah, it's definitely direct. This source, it doesn't really sugarcoat things. It calls this whole perspective a sort of wake-up call.
A wake-up call. Yeah.
Puts the responsibility squarely on, individual decisions, the ones we make every day.
Okay, so our mission here in this deep dive is to really unpack what this source actually means when it says being broke is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
We want to dig into the specific arguments it makes and just understand that viewpoint fully.
Let's do it.
So let's jump right into those core arguments. What's the main thrust?
Well, this source points to three specific choices it claims are basically keeping people broke.
Three choices. Okay,
Mhm.
what's the first one it really zeroes in on?
It hits hard on how we often go for immediate pleasure instead of thinking long-term. It calls it choosing instant gratification over long-term wealth.
Ah, okay. Like what kind of things?
The usual suspects. That brand new iPhone the second it comes out, getting takeout every single night, those weekend splurges that just, boom, wreck the budget.
Yeah, I can see that. The source actually says something like, you're trading financial freedom for dopamine hits.
Right.
That lands.
It's blunt, isn't it? And it links those, seemingly small daily buys directly to the bigger picture.
Meaning they aren't just small things.
Right. The source argues they're active choices instead of building something real over time. You're choosing the takeout over saving, basically.
Okay, so instant gratification is choice number one. What's the second big choice this source talks about?
This one's more about mindset, I guess. Choosing excuses over action.
Excuses.
Yeah, and it gives a pretty sharp example, one that probably feels familiar to a lot of us, claiming, oh, I don't have time to learn about money. But somehow managing to find, 4 hours a day for Netflix or scrolling social media.
Oof, yeah, that comparison.
Mm-hmm.
It stings a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really makes you pause and think about where the time actually goes.
Exactly. It forces that question about priorities. If getting smarter about your money isn't high on the list, well, other stuff will just fill that time. Less productive stuff, probably.
So the source is saying the excuse is the real roadblock, not necessarily the lack of time itself.
That seems to be the core idea, yeah.
Okay, instant gratification, check. Making excuses, check. What's the third choice, according to this source?
This one's about our comfort zones. It calls it choosing comfort over growth.
Comfort over growth. What does that look like in practice?
It means actively not doing things that could actually improve your finances. Things like, starting that side hustle you thought about, or really pushing to negotiate a raise at work, or maybe taking the leap into investing.
Because staying put, even if it's not ideal, just feels less scary, less effort than trying something new.
That's exactly the angle the source takes. Growth usually means stepping outside what's comfortable, right? Facing, maybe failing, putting in real effort.
And it's easier not to.
The source suggests a lot of people, maybe without even realizing it, just opt for the easier financial path, even if it keeps them stuck.
Now, the source isn't just making these claims out of thin air, right? It mentioned some research, a study.
It did, yeah. It pointed to some research from the National Bureau of Economic Research.
Okay, what'd that find?
Well, according to the source, it found that most financial struggles are tied more closely to behavior than they are to actual income level.
Wow, okay. That's a pretty big statement. Behavior over income.
It is. It really backs up the source's main point.
Yeah.
How you manage your money could be the bigger factor, maybe even more than how much you earn.
Which suggests that changing your habits might be more doable than, say, instantly doubling your salary.
Exactly. It puts the control, or at least some of it, back in your hands.
All right, so if the source argues that being broke is fundamentally about these choices, how does it say we can, change course? Flip the script, as you said.
Yeah, it lays out 4 pretty practical actions, steps you can take to stop choosing broke, essentially.
Okay, let's get into those. What's step one?
It's called the 72-hour rule. Pretty simple concept, actually. Before you buy anything that's not absolutely essential, you force yourself to wait a full 72 hours, 3 days.
Let's wait. And the idea behind that is?
The claim is that most of the time, after those 3 days, that intense urge to buy the thing, it's probably faded.
The impulse dies down.
Yeah. You realize you didn't need it or maybe even want it that much after all. It's basically a direct attack on impulse spending.
That makes a lot of sense, putting that buffer in. Okay, so that's rule 1. What's step 2?
Pay yourself first. Now, this isn't, revolutionary advice, but the source really stresses automating it.
Automating, how so?
Setting up your bank account so that, say, 10% or maybe even 20% of every paycheck, it goes straight into savings or investments right away before you even get a chance to spend it.
So it just happens. You don't have to think about it each time. Takes the willpower out of it.
Precisely. It flips the script so saving becomes the default, not something you try to do with leftovers.
Smart. Okay, step 3.
This one shifts the focus. It's invest in skills, not stuff.
Skills, not stuff.
Yeah, and the source uses a really clear comparison here. It says something like, that $1,000 phone won't make you money. A $1,000 course just might.
Huh. That puts it very plainly. It's reframing spending as either buying something that, loses value or investing in something that could actually boost your earning power.
Exactly. The focus shifts to building your capacity to earn, to create wealth, instead of just collecting, stuff.
Makes sense. And the 4th step, this one sounds like it's about the people around you.
It is. Surround yourself with winners. The source makes this point that, you tend to become the average of the 5 people you talk to most about money.
So choose your circle carefully.
Very carefully. It stresses being really intentional about who's influencing your financial thinking, your habits, your conversations about money.
Because if everyone in your circle is always broke or has negative money beliefs, it's going to be hard to swim against that current.
Absolutely. Your environment matters a lot. Finding people with a growth mindset about finance can really pull you up.
Okay, so those are the 4 main steps.
Yeah.
But the source added a pro tip too, right?
Yeah, a really practical foundational thing. Track every single dollar for 30 days straight.
Every penny.
Every penny. The source basically says most people will be genuinely shocked, like truly surprised, when they see where their money's actually going.
Yeah, you can't fix what you don't see. That awareness is key.
Totally. Knowledge is power, especially with those unconscious spending habits.
Now, this source doesn't just lay out the problems and steps. It tries to offer some proof, right? Real-world examples of people who supposedly break free.
It does. It highlights a few individuals whose stories, at least as the source presents them, really embody this idea of overcoming tough circumstances by changing their actions and mindset.
Like Chris Gardner, the guy from the movie The Pursuit of Happiness.
Exactly. His story, going from homeless to millionaire, is used by the source as, powerful evidence of resilience, proof that you can change your financial reality even from rock bottom.
And then there's Kendra Scott. Didn't she start with very little?
Yeah, the source mentioned she started her huge jewelry company with just $500, working out of a spare bedroom.
Wow.
And that example is used to show you don't always need huge amounts of capital to start. It's more about initiative, resourcefulness, using what you do have.
And Dave Ramsey comes up too, right? The personal finance guy.
Known for his big platform now, but the source points out he went bankrupt first.
Right.
Yeah. So his story, in this context, is about showing that past financial failures don't have to define you. You can learn, rebuild, it's possible.
And the common element the source finds in all these stories, what's the secret sauce, according to them?
It boils down to this. They stopped blaming external things, the economy, their boss, whatever, and they started building, taking action themselves.
Which really circles back perfectly to the source's whole core message, doesn't it? Shifting from blame to agency, taking control.
Exactly. Proactive creation over passive complaint.
So bringing this all back home for you listening, the source actually ends with a direct challenge, a no more broke challenge, it calls it.
Yeah, it's meant to be something you can do, right now, immediately actionable.
Okay, what are the steps?
First, cancel one unnecessary subscription. Today, just pick one.
Okay, done. Then what?
Second, take the money you just saved from that subscription and invest it immediately. Even if it's just the $10 the source uses as an example. Put it into stocks, savings, something.
So you're redirecting the cash flow from spending to building.
Precisely. That's the key move.
And the 3rd step?
Repeat. Do it again tomorrow. Find something else small to cut. Invest the savings. Keep doing that for 30 days straight.
So it's about building that habit of redirecting consistently, even with small amounts.
Yep. Small, consistent actions, creating a new pattern, moving resources from consumption toward investment.
And the source leaves us with one last thought, a distinction it makes.
Right. A really powerful one to think about. Broke is a season, but poor is a mindset.
Broke is temporary. Poor is ingrained thinking.
That's the idea it puts forward. It suggests a temporary lack of money is one thing, but a deep-seated way of thinking that keeps you struggling financially, that's something else entirely. That's the poor mindset it talks about.
So as you're processing all this pretty challenging idea that being broke is a choice, the habits it points to, the steps it suggests, those examples, what part of it really sticks with you? Or maybe what feels like the biggest hurdle for you personally?
Yeah, think about that. And maybe consider this final question based purely on the perspective laid out in the source material we've discussed. What is the single most impactful choice, according to this viewpoint, that you could make right now to start shifting things, to begin building wealth?